My topic is the effects of protein during pregnancy. And the reason why I chose this topic is because vitamins play a significant role during pregnancy to ensure that proper fetal development is taking place. When we think of nutrition, protein is commonly one of the first vitamins that comes to mind. What role does protein play for human development? Midwives frequently stress the importance of protein intake, and this research aims to better understand the effects protein has during pregnancy, so we can counsel on what would be best for pregnant mothers and their developing babies. I looked at several studies. My first one is the effects of protein energy supplementation during pregnancy on fetal growth, a review of the literature focusing on contextual factors. And the purpose of this study was to determine the effect maternal protein supplementation has on fetal development. And participants consisted of 20 pregnant women. Study design or methodology was a qualitative study consisting of 11 randomized controlled trials, 8 controlled before and after, and 1 prospective study. Participants had to be pregnant. Protein and/or energy could be the only supplemental components between treatment groups. And lastly, fetal growth, head circumference, and birth weight were to be reported. Conclusions and results. Balanced protein energy supplementation up to 20% of energy is protein, given during pregnancy seems to lead to improved fetal weight and growth outcomes. Weaknesses. The sample size seems small and would prove to be more beneficial if larger. Strengths included no conflict of interest, and the study was adequately funded. Excellent studies gauging criteria to screen women who would benefit from supplementation, kinds of supplements, and when to begin supplementation during pregnancy are warranted. Other comments include, are there sufficient or cost-effective ways to screen for low protein levels early on during pregnancy to increase fetal growth outcomes for women who are malnourished? My second trial study was on antenatal dietary education and supplementation to increase energy and protein intake. The purpose of this study was to determine whether dietary advice or an increase in protein supplementation intake in pregnancy improved outcome for babies, and are there any adverse outcomes to protein intake? Participants consisted of all pregnant women with no systematic illness. The study includes 17 randomized controlled trials, including 9,030 women. And the data collection and strategy included controlled trials consisting of balanced energy and protein supplementation versus no balanced energy and protein supplementation or placebo. Specific nutritional education / protein intake, or no nutritional education, or a different form of consultation. High protein supplements versus low or no protein supplements. And lastly, isochloradic protein supplements versus the protein replacing an equal quantity of non-protein energy. Conclusions and results from this trial indicated that nutritional counsel or protein vitamins during pregnancy may be helpful. There is not enough research on the benefits of isochloric protein supplements. As of right now, it appears to be unhelpful, and high protein supplements may prove to be harmful. Weaknesses consisted of there's a risk of bias was either unclear or high for at least 2 categories examined, and these can be seen as there was no data presented on compliance or substitution. And for other reasons. The quality of the included trials is low to moderate, thus should be interpreted with caution. Strengths included the research provides encouraging evidence that nutritional counseling and protein supplements can increase good fetal growth outcomes. Other comments, we understand the value protein can provide for neonates. However, it seems that future studies should focus on malnourished women to find evidence to reduce stillbirth and SGA. Future trials involving high protein supplementation and isochloradic protein supplementation should not be considered, as it would prove to be unethical. Lastly, my third study focuses on protein intake during pregnancy and offspring body composition at 6 years. And the purpose of this one was to show that studies show that fetal growth outcomes are improved by maternal protein intake during pregnancy. But what about long-term effects on the child? How does maternal protein intake during pregnancy affect body composition and adiposity of a child? Participants included 2,694 Dutch mother-child pairs in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. And this is a randomized controlled trial. Data collection and strategy. Energy-adjusted protein was calculated in pregnancy using the food frequency questionnaire and monitored in quartiles. Around ages 6 to 4 years, children's body fat-free mass index, and fat mass index were measured using dual energy X-ray absorptiometry. Outcomes were assimilated for age and sex. BMI was used to group children's overweight level. Conclusions and results indicated higher protein intake during pregnancy is correlated with higher childhood fat-free mass, but cannot be associated with childhood fat mass. Weaknesses. There's a limitation in the gathering of protein intake since FFQ is not very accurate. Slight inaccuracy in measuring BMI and no awareness of exercise, as this could change results. Strengths include the prospective population-based design. There's a large sample size. The child postnatal follow-up through 6 years of age. Other confounding factors. And lastly, the detailed information gathered from body composition measurements. Other comments. What are the underlying mechanisms